Georgia versus Texas. Which one's the best? Which would be better for your family to live, have an extended stay, whatever the case may be? I was invited to join this live stream with my friend Rebecca. She is a Texas native, I'm a Georgia native, and we discuss the pros, cons, differences, cost of living, things to do, all kinds of stuff between the two states. So if you have any questions and you're just curious about the difference, watch this. We're also going to go over some Southern differences that you may not be aware of if you're not from the South, and some of our fun little quirks. So stay tuned and you'll see two real moms duke it out over which state we feel like is the best.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you lived in Georgia, and a little bit about you?
All right. Well, I have been in the Georgia area my entire life. My dad always said he made more money moving than doing anything else. So he would buy a house, live there for 5 or so years, and then sell it and move somewhere else. And he was a very good investor. So that's kind of where I learned a lot of this stuff from. But where I live in Georgia, we're kind of on the Alabama side area. So I went from Georgia to Alabama, back to Georgia. So my whole life.
Yeah. So, but always in Georgia, never in Alabama?
Well, no, I lived in Alabama too. So like I said, it's like we're super close to the line. Depending on where you are, it can be as quick as 10 minutes, 30 minutes to get to different ones. And we've got a really cool lake over there called Lake Wedowee. And so I lived on Lake Wedowee for a little bit, then went back to Georgia. So just kind of all around.
Right. So, and similar, well, I never moved out of Texas because it's so big. But my family that moved out to Oklahoma, which is the closest part, but I've lived in Texas, went to college in Texas all my life. I've visited other areas in other states, but never lived in them. But so it sounds like we're both Southerners, true and true. So let's kind of start off the stream by talking just a little bit about what it's really like living in the South versus the North. Like my dad actually grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So he would always, tell me about the snow and shoveling the snow and how, unpleasant that was. And then kind of in retrospect now, I guess that I'm, not a little girl anymore, right? Growing up here, I would say that manners are a huge part of our culture, just in the South in general. So whether you're moving to Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Oklahoma, what would you say is expected of children when they're here? I'm sure you have some stories.
I do. I have 2 kids, and that was one of the very first things that they wanted to. I say they, like society and my family and everyone, they wanted to make sure they're saying yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, please and thank you, because that is a very common thing. You will see a lot of your gentlemen, more so, talking to any woman and calling her yes ma'am, and some of the women are like, I'm not old enough to be called yes ma'am, like, and he's like, it's just a Southern thing, like I'm just a gentleman. So right. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, manners is a big thing. I remember my Aunt Mary, she was always like, especially she was a little bit harder on my cousin. She would say, what do you say? Yes, ma'am. And so now I hear myself saying it to my kids. What do you say?
Yes. Well, I love it. And we do a tour. Okay, so what we do at our house, we have Monopoly money, and my daughter, she's the only one that's old enough to get it. My son's only 11 months old, but every time she uses manners, she gets $1. So she'll come up to me and she'll be like, may I please have some yogurt? And I'm like, oh, sure, here's $1. Oh, thank you, Mom. I'll take another $1. And so she really plays the system, but we're trying to instill those manners and make it, automatic.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that I think the weather is a huge factor when people are considering either Texas or Georgia or just the South in general. What's the weather like in Georgia? And if people are going to think about moving to that area, what should they expect? Or even traveling? I would think that that's important too, to look out for.
I hope you like some heat. So definitely the heat. It's pretty warm. The thing I will tell you, I love my state, but we really don't have a bunch of different seasons. It's either summer or it's not. Like that's kind of all we have there, and it's very humid. Like this curly frizz kind of thing is just kind of what you're going to expect there. So, that's the downside. And a lot of people, we don't handle snow well. If you guys will remember, we had a snowfall. Well, we've had one recently. We had one just 2 years ago, but then we had another one a few years before that, and it shut the state down. Like we were done for a week. Like nobody was going anywhere. It was crazy. People were sleeping in their cars on the side of the road because we're not prepared to drive in it. We don't have the proper vehicles to pass out the salt and do the roads and things. Yeah. And we rarely get opportunities like that to experience it. So we're not prepared for that at all. But Texas, I know that you guys had a lot of snow recently.
We did. It was like a 100-year cycle thing to where the entire state got snow, even regions as far south as Austin. And I mean, Austin doesn't usually get snow. It's pretty far south. I think Houston, and Houston's like right next to the Gulf. So it was insane. So the stress on the grid too made it harder. I feel like Dallas, which is where I am located, which is on the north side of Texas, is a little bit more prepared when it comes to the snow because we get it, or ice, either one. We get it at least once a year, a sprinkle or a dusting here and there. So it's not uncommon to have something like that happen here. And Prescott does have the trucks that go the major highways, but if you're trapped in your neighborhood, there's nowhere you can go. So if it's really thick, like it was this past winter in February, and it was weird, it says February. It wasn't like December or January. Yeah. And at the very end of winter, I guess the groundhog decided, nope, we're not done yet. Got a whole lot. It was below zero for an entire week, which is very uncommon for the area. I would say if we're below zero or we're freezing temperatures, we may have it for a couple of weeks, but it's never a big long stint. This past February.
Now, on the flip side, what about allergies and pollen? Because in Georgia, we're yellow for a good solid month, sometimes two. Like it takes forever when we get the seasons in, and that's something else a lot of people, especially from the north, they're not used to with all the pollen.
Yeah, I would say allergies are a common thing that people are not aware of, or they're not aware that they're allergic to certain things, and they come here and they experience a little bit of that. And then also too, I'm sure with the pollen too, it gets all over your lawn furniture outside. And it's not an everyday thing. It's more or less just in the spring when things are really booming and buzzing, you get a lot more pollen not only in the air, but just it gets all over everything. So you kind of have to clean off your patio furniture. I remember one spring I went to my mom's house. She lives further out in the country, and her whole all of her glass, whatever table that she had outside was all dusted in that yellow pollen, and she had to kind of just hose it off. It's outside furniture. It's going to be water resistant, but yeah, just a little bit of craziness when it comes to allergies and stuff too.
And once it rains, it really calms things down. Like we're praying for the rain because you can see the pollen, like literally sheets of yellow just flowing by. But then once you get a good rain, it's good. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But some people aren't allergic. Some people they have no issues at all. But then some people they're just completely out. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I get sick, but I recover kind of quickly. But yeah, we're so glad for that rain when it calms things down.
Yeah, and it has been particularly rainy this year, at least here in Texas. It has been, so that's been really nice. Like earlier this week, we had really nice 80-degree temperatures, high 80s, mid to level 80s, and that's very rare for July. But it was because we had the chance of rain and everything of that in that regard. So that was a really nice break, and it didn't really until we hit June, even because May was so mild. Usually May can get up to the 90-degree level like the rest of the summer is, but we've been pretty fortunate this summer. It just kind of varies.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain recently, but I mean that's just kind of hit or miss for us in the summer. You just never know. Typical thunderstorm or not.
What about hurricanes? Do you experience any or all of those? And what's that like living so close to the? Because I guess that's part of the Gulf Coast, right? Yeah, am I thinking right? Or you're above Florida? Gosh,
yeah.
Geography's awful.
That's okay. We're the Atlantic right there. But I am far enough away from that all I see are the heavy rain. Like that's it. But now if you live down in Savannah, you're getting evacuated. They have special lanes specifically for evacuations that are up all year because it is a big thing, and they do have to be vigilant about that. But yeah, we don't necessarily have to worry about that. Now we do see tornadoes. That's kind of a common thing for us. But other than that's really the only natural disaster that we really have.
Yeah, I would say the same here in North Texas. Sweet little baby.
Sorry, my 11-month-old is in jail and he's wanting to come join the party. I'm going to let him come see if he'll come hang out with us for a second.
Yeah. We'll kind of have some elevator music. Do 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 do. I don't know what we're doing. We're just gonna work with it. I will tell the viewers though that here in Texas, we do see tornadoes as well because we are a part of Tornado Alley, which goes through Oklahoma and Kansas. Oh, he is precious.
Well, he's spoiled rotten is what he is. So he what's going on? What's going on?
It's like I see you, but I'm not sure.
He's like, I'm kind of confused. That's my mom up there.
See now,
we'll let him have some snacks. One other thing that I wanted to mention that's kind of a big deal for us is sweet tea. Yeah. And I know whenever you go to other parts of America and you order tea, it comes unsweetened. For us, if you order tea, like it's coming sweet, like be prepared for that. So that's something
not like a mild sweet either.
We pour all the sugar.
Yes. It'll keep you awake for sure. Just from the sugar factor alone. But yeah, no, I'll do sweet tea and then I'll get, something sugary in it as well. So I'll have like a peach or a watermelon flavor in McAllister's and people think I'm nuts. And I'm just like, it tastes good. I don't know.
It does.
I can't do the unsweet. And I have family members. I think maybe they're just not used to the sweetness yet. And so they just more or less are just kind of like, well, I'll add some sugar in. Like, so it's not as much, but I'm just like, that's impossible because it's already cold. You can't really stir it. It just sits at the bottom.
No. So, I've tried that before on like cruise ships and things like that where they don't give you sweet tea, and it's not the same. Do not recommend.
No, I've tried it and it just is not the same. You get some of those granules in your mouth and your drink and you're just like, why? Yes. No, but sweet tea is good. I do like mixing sweet tea with lemonade and making Arnold Palmer. Because the sweetness and the tart kind of balance each other out. So I'm sure some Northerners would appreciate that too. But yeah, definitely sweet tea. Some people like it just by itself.
Yes.
I can do it sometimes, and it depends on the type of sweet tea, but not all the time with the sweet. But definitely not the unsweet. My Aunt Mary was just all about unsweet, and I was just like, I can't. Like, why? Why? To me, it's like. And so I'll probably get booed a little bit for this, but I'm not a coffee drinker at all.
Me either.
So it's like just drinking black coffee. Just like, why am I going to torture myself? Mm-hmm. I feel like sweet tea is kind of the same way.
Yeah, I don't do now. I will do some sweet tea, but I put enough sugar in it to give you diabetes. So it's definitely good. But the coffee, I can't even handle the taste of coffee. Like I don't like coffee flavored anything. So sweet tea is my go-to for caffeine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll drink sweet tea all day long. I'm drinking water right now though. But we talked a little bit about the culture. So Tell me a little bit about what the food is like in Georgia, and what are some of the popular things that people they have to eat when they're there, whether they live there or they're vacationing there in Georgia.
Okay, so Georgia, we love, God's chicken, Chick-fil-A. Like that's a big thing that we don't play around with that. We love some Chick-fil-A. We have a lot of local like restaurants and stuff, so those are really popular for us. We also really like, we're not super healthy. I'm gonna be straight up. Like, we like some Southern food. We like some country type stuff. And we have like a couple of things that I don't think that a lot of places does, like Crystal. Do y'all have Crystal hamburgers?
No.
Okay, so that's one thing that we have are Crystal hamburgers. So to anybody that hasn't had them, they're like these little bitty mini hamburgers. And that sounds terrible because who would want a mini hamburger? But they are delicious and they are so good. And that's one of the things that we have in Georgia that I haven't seen a lot of places whenever we go. And we also have a fast food joint called Jack's. And it is very similar to, I guess, probably maybe a Wendy's. Okay. Maybe kind of, but it's something that's very local to Georgia and Alabama. As far as I know, that's the only places that we really have it, but that's kind of a popular one. They have amazing biscuits, and we're Southern. We love our biscuits.
Yeah, biscuits is a good thing to have.
Yes. What about Texas? What are some things unique to y'all?
So Texas is all about the beef. We are big on our brisket, and we take pride in having having the best brisket. I think there are many different places to eat brisket and barbecue here in Texas. We have several in the DFW area that are individually owned that you'll see is kind of scattered throughout, so you can try different ones. Different ones have been featured also in the magazine. The one that I really like, I like two. I do like my cousin. I guess he's my cousin. We'll just call him my cousin. My cousin Mac. He has he'll smoke his own brisket and he'll cater to different things. He's catered for different parties for me, and you get like, how many pounds have you ordered? Like 10 pounds of brisket. Nice. And then he'll slice it up or chop it up or do whatever you want with it. And then obviously pickles and onions and bread and barbecue sauce all kind of comes with it a la carte. Usually you'll have like potato salad, which I'm just like, why? I don't understand potato salad or coleslaw for that matter. Because
I like it with sugar. Like if coleslaw has sugar in it, it's the bomb. But if it doesn't have sugar, no thank you.
I've never tried that. That sounds definitely unhealthy. But
do you have Captain D's?
Captain D's?
Yeah.
No Captain D's. There's Captain Crunch.
Y'all think I'm making this stuff up, but I'm not. It's just like a seafood thing, and they put sugar in their coleslaw, and it's delicious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. I've had beans with. Now in East Texas is a little bit different. When you get like beans in East Texas, they kind of have a sweetness to them. Mm-hmm. They're in that like bean sauce or whatever it is. I'm not sure exactly what's all in there. And then, but there's some beans here that I've tried that have a little bit of, they're not sweet, they're more savory, and they have jalapenos in them. And it's got a little bit of spice, but a little bit of the savory bean with it. And it's really good with the brisket. So I like to go to the restaurant here locally in my area that I love to go to. And I've gone there with friends, family, I've taken clients there too, is, I can't think of it.
I know y'all got Bill Miller, so I don't think that's probably what you're thinking of.
It's called, it'll come to me later. I'll leave it at that. But it's a great, they've got, sausage, they have pulled pork, you can get there too. And it's usually a la carte. So you'll say, I want this many pounds of this many pounds of that, and just kind of, you'll stack up your tray, and then everybody just kind of shares and splits what's there at the table. I've seen other barbecue places make like take a jalapeno pepper and wrap bacon around it.
Yes.
Fry that up. I can't remember. There's a specific name for it that they call it. So I can't remember exactly. But culturally too, there are a couple of words couple of cities that if you're not sure how they're pronounced, you can get a little bit confused. So, what is a common phrase or word that people are confused by when they're in Georgia?
So, well, we say y'all.
Okay,
So
y'all.
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think that everybody calls, well, I mean, I know we do, and there's no thinking. We call it a buggy, your shopping cart when you go to the store. So they're buggies. So that's something that they don't know. So those are kind of our two biggest ones. I know a lot of Northerners will call like Coca-Cola pop or soda or something, but we call everything Coke. Like
right, everything's Coke. That's right.
Everything's Coke with that. We have some interesting names for some cities around where I'm from, actually.
Okay.
So the town, it's not actually but the town is Buncombe.
Spell it for me, and I'll put it up, and then you pronounce it.
Spell it. Okay, good idea. Okay, so Buncombe.
B-U-N or M?
N.
N. Okay.
Ninja.
Add then. Here we go.
Buncombe. Yeah. So what do you think that is?
So to me, it looks like Buncombe.
So that's Buncombe.
Buncombe. Hey, nice.
Okay, the next one. I said this earlier, so I'm hoping you don't remember how to say it, but this is one that gets mispronounced on the news all the time. So Wedowee.
Wow, that's definitely, I'm gonna butcher that one. Okay, let me see. Oh my gosh. Okay, it looks like Wedowee.
That's what everyone calls it, Wedowee, but it's Wedowee.
Wedowee. Okay, so I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Okay.
Yeah, my dog's getting excited. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not Wedowee. Okay, the next one would be where I actually live. You're probably gonna get this one, but it's just an interesting one.
Okay.
But it's going to be I used to live here. Lineville. V like Victor.
Ille.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like Lineville.
You said it right. Yes, you said it right.
Okay. So it looks like Lineville, and it is Lineville.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we've had people, try to. I don't know how they just kind of get that one off the most of the time. So I think those are probably the best ones. We've got some other ones that are kind of a little bit more south, but okay, hold on. Here's a fun one. Okay, EAST. ABOGA.
Say that last part. I got EAST.
Yeah, ABOGA.
ABOGA. Ooh. So it looks like Estaboga.
Okay, close. Eastaboga. Yeah.
Eastaboga.
We got to countryfy everything.
Yeah, so I think that one probably like Estaboga. I would have East. I could see how someone would be like, "Where are you at?" Eastaboga.
Yes.
Oh wow, that's fun. So we've got now I'm going to. I don't think I spelled that one right. Okay, this is popular in Austin. I think I spelled that wrong.
Manchaca?
It's actually Manchac. That's what they say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never would have got that one.
No, so that one's in Austin. That was like a street name. And then there's, what's the town that I always drive through? Well, you're probably going to get this one.
Okay, I got to get one right now.
You gotta get that one.
Oh yeah, okay. Waco. I was just here. I was just there a few weekends ago. Doing the very touristy thing. My husband planned a little extended weekend for us there. So yes, I'm very familiar with that one.
Okay. So you got that one. Let me see if I can think of that other town. I drove through.
And I have a Waco in Georgia too.
Oh, there's a Waco in Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Right beside me.
Yeah, I wasn't as prepared for these names. This is fun. I should have prepared better. You were super prepared for that part.
Well, I just hear it because when we go places, like I went to Africa on a mission trip, and they were just floored. There's no way that's really the names of your cities. I was like, yeah, like what? Yes, your guys are Africa. Like, look at some of your names, and you're giving me flack over mine.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. So, talk about the food a little bit, the culture, the weather a little bit. What about housing costs? What are you seeing for the most part? I can speak a little bit about DFW, and I can kind of guess about certain other areas and other parts of Texas. But what are you seeing when it's coming to the housing market in your immediate area?
Well, let me ask you, what would you guess? Like, what would you think? How do you think Georgia would be ranked?
I would say you could probably find something in Georgia for what, 350 maybe? Is that a possible budget?
For 350?
350? Is that
that's we're actually below the average median. So if you look at the average median and you rate it at 100, Georgia is at a 93. So you can find things, and it depends on how far out you go. Now in Atlanta,
okay,
you're going to be getting things a lot more expensive. But out towards where I live, you can get things for a pretty cheaper rate than you can. Like you can. I would say a good, well, right now the housing market, is going crazy, but I would say a good average price range would be around 200,000, and you can get like a pretty decent single family home for that.
Oh, okay. So how does that compare with taxes and state income tax? I'm guessing your taxes aren't too high. Texas is just ridiculously high on that scale for property taxes. Where do your property taxes line up with that?
So ours aren't that bad. So I would say the average in Georgia is probably $1,500 to $1,700 a year, depending on if you're in city or county.
Okay.
So if you're in the city, you're going to pay more because you're paying the city and the county. But then in Alabama, it's like half that.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Alabama
pretty steep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so 15,000 for the year in taxes.
Wait, no, 1,500 is what we pay.
1,500.
Yes.
Okay, I was like, okay, that. I was like, man.
Yeah, no, we're not that high. No, 1,500 is how we're looking for.
Okay, so well, here in Texas, I would say if you want your taxes to be $500,000, you're probably buying a house that's right around the $250,000, $300,000 marker.
Okay.
So obviously, the lower your price point, the lower your tax rate is going to be. Certain areas will be higher and lower. In the Dallas-Fort Worth, immediate area in the city, a lot of the taxes are going to be just over 2%. Some are hovering right around 2.5% for whatever time you multiply that by whatever your home is worth or whatever the tax assessor thinks it's worth.
Yeah.
So if you buy a $300,000 house, multiply that by 2.5%, and then it'll give you a pretty good idea if it was located in the city. If it's further outside of town, it's a little bit less expensive. I would say the more remote areas for sure are going to have, probably closer to 1.5%, 1%. But that's probably you being remote there by yourself. Starting price point in Dallas-Fort Worth to get you a decent house, and that's even in some of the outskirts cities, is now $300,000. I looked I looked for. There are a couple of properties just under that, but with multiple offers, everything's hitting above 300. So if you're not approved for $300,000, then it's really tough because I feel like the $300,000 marker was the $200,000 marker probably about a couple of years ago. We've appreciated that much. And then likewise, the $100,000 marker is now the $200,000. Everything's been bumped up about $100,000. We've experienced a lot of growth to the area. What about growth for you? Do you feel like people are moving in drones to Georgia itself?
Yes, definitely. We're having, sorry, the baby's getting the cord.
No, you're good.
We can't bite that. That would not be, that would be terrible to have like an electrical shortage. Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of growth here, and people are coming from Atlanta. So Atlanta now, like I said, in Atlanta, you're not going to touch anything for $200,000. I mean, you're just not.
Yeah.
But in my area, you can, like I said, you can get. I mean, 200,000 is going to be basic. It's not going to be anything.
Right, nothing fancy. 3 bed, 2 bath, maybe plastic countertops. You got a sink. Congratulations, and it's newish, right? It's probably built in 2016 or something like that. Newish.
No, I mean,
not quite newish.
Yeah, no, you're looking a little bit older unless you get, now it'll be recently remodeled. We were doing a lot of building when the housing market crashed, and then it totally stopped, and now they're bumping that back up a lot. But your new constructions, the cheapest you can get a new construction for, I would say, is probably about 230, 240.
Okay,
That's pretty basic though for a new construction. It's not all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, no, same here. About 230 is what I was looking for, someone who had a lower budget the other day, and I couldn't find anything for 200. Nothing new construction, and even the resale that was 200 wasn't even really worth looking at. You can probably get a condo and park your money there for a little while until things cool off, and you can save up some more money. But I mean, I don't know how much that condo is going to appreciate. I know condos don't appreciate as much as a single family. I know there is appreciation, but not as much. And I guess it just depends on how you market it when you sell it. But if it's close to university, that could be a big driving factor. He's so cute.
Well, he's a attention hog is what he is. Now, one thing I do want to ask: are mobile homes a thing there in Texas, or is that just kind of a Georgia, Alabama thing?
I would say yes, but further outside of town. So if you're in the city, it's less common. Because there are a lot of restrictions, but the further you get outside of the major city, an hour and a half from the metro area, you'll start to see pop-ups of different mobile homes. And we do have in Texas, I don't know if it's same as you, but there are quite a few restrictions when it comes to land and putting a mobile home on it. So it's very important for people who are buying land and wanting to do that. They need to really look at the deed restrictions. And even if the neighbor is doing it, doesn't mean, mean, you can do it, but you run the risk, I guess, of pointing fingers at each other and saying, well, you get in trouble, and then you're like, point at the other guy, but he did it,
Yeah.
And I think it's just, I'm not sure who would be enforcing those types of property restrictions anyways, to be honest, especially if it's further outside of town and if it's more in a remote area. So it's very difficult. But even the mobile homes, some of them are on land, so that's kind of the benefit. You get a little bit more spaced out. But I will say that a lot of if you want a new mobile home, it costs just as much as getting a house. And to me, that's insane.
Yeah, it's not going to have near the gains that a house does. But Georgia, we have a lot of rules about things like that. Like you cannot have, a really old mobile home anymore. Like it cannot move county to county anymore. It certainly can't go over state line. They don't even allow single wides in the counties that I serve right now. But in Alabama, there's still a free for all. Like they'll let you do kind of whatever there. But I'm just like, why would you pay that much for something whenever you could get like a house that's on a setting and exactly what's gonna come of it in the next few years.
Right. You are going to get hopefully a little bit more appreciation, but I mean, usually if it's a mobile home, it's on some land, and so I think that's attractive to a lot of people, especially because we had COVID and we went through all of that, and to have a larger piece of land, everyone's kind of looking for. So I guess if you can get a new mobile home on an acre plus, that's worth it to a lot of people. So it just depends on what they need and what they want. But yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the job market there in Georgia. What are some of your top businesses that people follow?
Okay, so I would say the biggest one, and I don't know if you guys know of this. Y'all may. I mean, it's all over the country, but we're stationed in Carrollton, Georgia. Would be Southwire. So Southwire is the largest distributor of wire, and they do a lot for when the storms happen and things like that. So they definitely provide a lot of jobs. We've got plants, even more so than just in Carrollton, like Riverdale in Alabama. They give a lot of jobs there. The second biggest employer of the area would probably be the hospital system. And we've got a local system called Tanner in our area, and they service a bunch of counties, and so that would be the second biggest job. And then you've got your plants and different things like that. But those, and we also have a college right there. The University of West Georgia is right there, so that provides a bunch of jobs and a bunch of different learning opportunities for the students.
Yeah. Here, it depends on which metro city you're a part of. So I would say that Austin is probably the biggest job hub in the entire state when it comes to job dispersion, because they've got Facebook, they've got Google Campus, they got quite a few big tech companies. I think Elon Musk has headquarters in Austin. San Antonio is really that's where the Air Force Base is. So there's a lot of military related things there. There's a lot of history too in San Antonio. That's where the Alamo is. So a lot of people, tourism is a part of their economic model over there. El Paso, I'm not sure. They're out in the desert.
I've been there before too. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm not really sure about El Paso. Dallas, Fort Worth, we are getting more tech. I kind of feel like Dallas has a slice of everything, because we've got several sports teams in the area for entertainment and for business that way. We have the PGA headquarters is being moved from Florida to Frisco, which is a part of North Dallas. We've got lots and lots of golf courses kind of scattered throughout the North Dallas area. The Southwest Airlines headquarters is in Northfield in Dallas. Let's see, McAfee's headquarters are in Dallas. What are some of the other top ones? I know that Charles E. Schwab, I think they moved their headquarters to Southlake recently. So just a lot of business that's continuing to grow and into to our area, and also to we have a lot of the mom and pop who survived COVID that are still alive and
still doing well. We have the airport. So the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport is, it's the busiest in the world. So that provides a ton of jobs if you're wanting to go all the way to Atlanta. But from where I live, without traffic, it's like a good hour drive. Yeah. So once you're coming, you don't even want to touch it in the mornings with all the traffic and stuff. It's just crazy. So, but they do provide a lot of jobs, but it's also good. So I'm sure that many of you guys have probably been to Atlanta, at least on a layover, because we have so many connecting flights out of there, and we have so many other things.
Yeah, no, it's a big spot for connecting flights. I will say too, we also have the, what's it called? Gosh, now I can't think of it. Okay. Healthcare is a pretty big employer as well. In every city, there's at least 2 major hospitals and one like smaller one, like Baylor, Scott and White. So we'll have like a medical city, maybe a Texas Health Resources Hospital, Presbyterian Hospital, and then we'll have, and that's in every city. So that's Frisco, McKinney. Dallas proper has its own area, part of it, but within the Dallas-Fort Worth area metroplex, I do feel like there is quite a few hospitals and quite a big part of our economy, so to speak, because, with hospitals, they need nurses, they need everything like that. we have quite a few dentists too, I feel like, in the area, it seems like.
So I'm a former nurse, so I know all about the healthcare and that's why I can tell you all the different hospitals and medical facilities we have in Georgia. Because it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Well, a lot of your senior citizens want to retire in the South. They don't want to face the cold weather anymore. So it is a growing population for sure in our nursing homes and healthcare.
I think also too, there's been a big shift towards home health care. A lot of people don't want to go into a nursing home, or they can't afford to go into a nursing home towards the latter part of their life. And so a lot of home health care has become a pretty big part of that, the healthcare industry, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We've talked about all of that. What about some of your, how much does it cost to go out on a date night in Georgia? Let's say you and your husband are going out to dinner. You're going to get some margaritas, and then you want to go to a movie. How much would that cost about?
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. How bougie are we trying to get on our date night?
Just one margarita per person. Lindsay, go on.
Okay, so as far as the dinner, well, it depends. I mean, my husband is 6'7" and he eats like a horse. So our dinners are going to be a little bit more expensive, I feel like. But, I would say our dinner is about $60. And then the movie depends on if we do the military discounts and things like that. So we can get in. We can get in for about, I would say, $20 for a movie ticket. Margaritas, it depends on where you get them. If you go to the Mexican place, the Mexican restaurants and stuff, you can get a better deal than going to like a Longhorn and trying to get one. Okay. But I would say for the margarita, probably $7 for a normal size one each. Yeah, I hope you're doing the math because I'm not trying to do the math hard.
You're okay. You're okay.
And then let's just throw in some dessert. If we went, we've got Cold Stone or some really cool. We've got this really cool ice cream spot, and you're looking at about probably $5 or $6 a piece for ice cream if we're trying to go all out. And I love some dessert, so that's always part of my date night.
Yeah, we have a place called Cinnaholic here in the area. Okay. There's one in downtown, and there's one that just moved into the McKinney-Frisco border. And it's like cinnamon rolls, but they'll put like slices of apple and caramel and oats and pecans. And some of them will have like chocolate glaze, and they'll have strawberries on top. Some of them will have what's some other flavors? Because I've tried the caramel apple pie one with the and that one's really good.
Oh, my husband would love it.
Yeah, it's so bad, but it's so good. I feel like that maybe the apple makes it healthier.
There you go. You're getting a fruit.
And they have one that's like pineapple, and it's got a fruit frosting. But I mean, that place is good. We'll go to that. Boba tea is also really big. I don't know if it's big there. It's like an Asian tea that you can. They have tilapia flavored, or I think it's like a chewy tilapia. I don't know. I've never
tilapia tea.
No, they're like little tilapia balls that you chew on, that you suck up through. It's like you get like a big straw. You get a giant straw, and sometimes you'll get poppers. I like the poppers. They're like little bitty circular. I don't know how the best way to describe it. Things that you can. They'll pop in your mouth, and you get a flavor of strawberry or mango or whatever it is, and there's like a skin around it, and it doesn't have any flavor, so it's like you're eating something. I don't know. It sounds gross, but it's not.
I mean, tilapia flavored. I just, I eat tilapia, but only because it's fish and it's good for me. I don't know if I would necessarily.
Wait, maybe I'm saying it. It's not tilapia. Oh my gosh.
I was like,
no wonder you look at your face. It's tapioca. It's tapioca. Oh my gosh. Yeah, tilapia would be a very foul flavor to put in.
I was like, but you go for it. If that's a Texas thing, y'all go for it. We don't, we do a lot of catfish, but we don't eat it in stuff. So.
Yeah. Sorry, it was tapioca. Well,
Okay.
not tilapia. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I'm pretty embarrassed about that. Okay. Moving on. But they have it's kind of cool because some of the straw, you can get like a big straw and it'll have like, I don't know, some sort of spice on it that's in with your sweet drink. It's like sweet and spicy with the straw and fruity.
And not fish flavored,
Not
right?
fish flavored. It's really, really good. And there are several places that will have, it's called boba tea. So BOBA.
Okay.
So if you're ever in the area, there's a huge I feel like Asian influence on certain cities here in the Metroplex. There are places where you can get Chinese food, Filipino food, a lot of places where you can get Vietnamese food. I mean, there's an entire like shopping center that's dedicated to just Vietnamese food and different restaurants there. Vietnamese dessert places too. So it's very. I feel like Dallas is very culturally inclusive. Well, not really inclusive, but it is. But there's a wide variety of cultures that kind of all meet up. I feel like in Dallas, lots of good Indian food places, Mediterranean food places, and you can get really authentic food because a lot of these people are originally from various parts of the world, and they're bringing their flavors and their foods to Texas and to Dallas. So and then obviously you have to talk about the Tex-Mex. Tex-Mex is a huge part of Dallas. Yes. To where it's it's not just about the nachos, but it's the crispy tacos and the soft tacos and the quesadillas and the chalupas and the chimichangas, and I could go on and on of the angas. There's also some really good Salvadorian. There's a Salvadorian food restaurant chain that's very popular here called Gloria's, and they're probably my favorite. If I had to pick a chain of Mexican food, it would be. And it's not really Salvadorian, right? Salvadorian, but it's really, really good. I'm trying to think of because we kind of got off topic a little bit. So
sorry,
cost of living. So for here in Texas, if you wanted to go out, let's say you were going out to Gloria's. The meal for myself and for my husband is going to be about, let's just say it's probably closer to $50 for the two of us. So, well, maybe not even that. That's $50 is pretty extravagant. I would say you're probably paying about $15 per plate at a restaurant. And it's a pretty like mid-level restaurant. We're not going to like a full-on steak restaurant. Right. It's just more or less just that. So, $15 a plate plus taxes. You're looking at $40 ish. And then if you add, some margaritas, it's about the same, $7 to $10. Depending on the restaurant. I've been to some restaurants where they'll charge $7 and it's like this little, and you're just like,
better be made with gold.
And then you'll get another restaurant where it's like this big and it's $7. And you're like, yeah.
What am I talking about?
And it's not even happy hour. And you're just like, all right. There's a lot of craft breweries here. Is craft beer a pretty big in Georgia too?
Yes. Well, I say yes. We've got one that's local to us, so the Noonan area, so not too far away from where I am. Now, if you go to Atlanta, there's several of them, but that's the closest one locally would be that one. But I don't drink beer. Like that's just not. Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to tell you how much that costs.
Well, I mean, so the only type of beer that I really like is the fruity kind, where it's like Angry Orchard style, where it has like an apple flavor to it. Like I'm all about that one. I can handle that, and I can handle a light beer. But anything that's really dark, it's just kind of like coffee. It's just like it's just too much. It's too bitter for me. And some people would be like, that's my favorite, I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, give me a Stella Rosa, and I'm pretty chill about that. But for the most part, I do like I do prefer probably wine over beer. But there are several farms and wineries in Texas that you can go. You can take your family. You can go apple picking in the fall. You can go blueberry
Say
picking.
that 3 times real fast.
Yeah, I know. Blueberry picking, raspberry picking. You want to pick it. There's probably a farm where you can go do that. I'm sure that's very similar in Georgia. You have a lot of. I always think of when I think of Georgia, my brain always goes to peach. Is it the number one peach producer in the United States?
Well, yes. So let me tell you something interesting. So we're known for the Georgia peach. It's on all of our Georgia films, like everywhere. But we actually produce more pecans than peaches. So, I mean, we're still really popular, and blueberries are a solid third. My parents have massive blueberry bushes that are, they're like 8 feet tall and like, I don't even know how wide, like maybe 6 feet wide, like it's massive. So yeah, we're eating good whenever our crops come in.
Oh yeah. What about oranges too? Pretty big orange, or is that more Florida?
Yeah, that's more Florida, a little bit more south. Now we do have some really fun things like pumpkin patches in the fall that we have a lot going on. And then if you go up to the North Georgia mountains, that's where we do the apple picking and things like that.
Oh wow. Okay, that sounds like fun. Mountains, huh?
Well, I mean, so really in Georgia, you know, this is one of the good things about the state is you can pick, it's kind of like California, how you can have all kinds of different atmospheres and climates. Like you can go north and have gorgeous mountains and awesome crisp air. You can go south and have that beach lifestyle. You can come to my area and just deal with the tornadoes. No, you can come to my area and just have, you know, the more of the farm life, a little bit away the country acreage and things. So or you can be in Atlanta, which is the melting pot. You know, you get everything, and we have a lot of films going on there, and so you just kind of get a little bit of everything in Georgia.
Yeah, sounds pretty similar to Texas in its geography too. Let me kind of show. I always talk about the map a little bit, so. If you want mountains and basins, you go to Big Bend. There's lots of places to hike and bike and enjoy that. And then you've got the Texas Hill Country, which is Austin, San Antonio, beautiful rolling hills, beautiful drives, beautiful lakes, all in the Hill Country. And then you get into the South Texas plains. So it does start to flatten out here. The Gulf Coast, obviously, we've got lots of coastline. Which my favorite part of the Texas coast is going to be Port Aransas.
Ooh, pretty.
It's really, really, really beautiful there. And then you've got the Piney Woods here in East Texas, Tyler, on your way to Shreveport. To me, I feel like this part of Texas reminds me a lot of Arkansas. So if you're looking for a place that's similar to Arkansas and it's in Texas, it's going to be on the east side over here. The prairies and lakes, this is where Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex kind of lies. So prairie means obviously it's going to be mainly flat. We are going to have a couple of hills here and there, but it's mainly going to be flat. But there are quite a few lakes. Some of them are man-made and some of them are natural. So you do get a lot of people that love to just hang out by the lakes. They'll have a lake house in Dallas-Fort Worth, which is the metro area that I'm closest to in this area. There are probably about 5 or 6 major lakes. Some are within 30-minute drive. Others can be about an hour. And if you can go a little bit further outside of town to get more affordability, then you have the Panhandle. This is called the Panhandle because if you were to grab this section, if Texas was like a plate, if you were to grab this part, it would be like the handle. So that's why it's called the Panhandle. So the Panhandle reminds that type of geography reminds me a lot of Oklahoma. So it's going to be flat. You're going to get all 4 seasons. The Panhandle, especially in the northern part right here at Amarillo, it's going to be really hot in the summer. It's going to be really cold in the winter. You are going to get snow. You are going to get tornado. You are going to get rain. You get a lot more of that rougher weather. Also too, like El Paso is right here on the tip right there. So driving through parts of the southern Panhandle, you will start to see more of a desert climate. And that's what Big Bend, you'll have the mountains and basins in Big Bend, but it'll be more of like a desert kind of feel like this. So it's not going to be green or anything. To me, I guess it's more of like the Grand Canyon area, Grand Canyon part of Texas. So anyway.
So you've got a good diverse
We got
thing to pick from.
Any type of state, or I guess geography you want to be at, Texas has it all. So but you've got some pretty good stuff going on in Georgia. So
yeah, we do. I think so.
Well, anything else that you want to share about Georgia before we head out?
No, I guess just a couple of like fun things that people may not necessarily know about Georgia. Like I said, Atlanta's huge. It's becoming this big city. Well, it already is a big city, but it's just growing. We are known as the new Hollywood, because there's so many films that are being done there. I don't know if y'all have seen The Walking Dead, but that's filmed just right next door to us. So just a couple of cities over from me. Okay. And so we have a lot of really cool things like that. And you're seeing a lot of the stars move out that way. So right where they're filming that, there's this area in that town where they live. And so now this you would not be able to touch for $200,000. Okay. This you're looking at, closer to the 800 to $1 million, but they're living there and they're getting some things going. So that's cool. We had the Summer Olympics back in '96. So that was a big deal.
Here, let me get you a picture. Hang on. We got to look at some good pictures now. I forgot about it. Oh, hang on. I downloaded, but I didn't upload. Let me upload real quick. So keep talking.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we had the Summer Olympics, and I remember she was asking me earlier, why did they have it in Atlanta? I was like, girl, I don't know. I was like a little bitty thing back then. And I just remember it being such a big deal in school, and them telling us, oh, we're doing the Olympics. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And they were going over it with us, what would be your favorite activity to do here and that. We also have Stone Mountain there, which it is the largest exposed granite wall that is there is. So we've got it carved out. It's really cool. They have light shows. They have all kinds of fireworks and stuff there in the winter time. You can go snow tubing, and they do artificial snow and things like that. So that's something that's really cool.
Down this cliff.
My dog's like, yeah, I agree. That's super cool, Mom. And then we also have the Georgia Aquarium. Okay. So that is something that, where it's a huge thing. They've got all this cool sharks and, dolphins and all of this stuff. And so that's a really big thing. I didn't realize, like, when we got it, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. We've got an aquarium, but I didn't realize how big it was and that people were traveling all around to come see this. So I thought that's pretty neat. And then the Coca-Cola factory, that's something else that we have there that people can come, and you get to try like all of the Cokes, the first one that was ever invented, and then all these different flavors and stuff that you don't get to try everywhere else. So those are some of the cool things that we have for the tourists and locals. We also enjoy that too. But one thing you may probably remember from history, we're one of the original 13 colonies. So woohoo, go Georgia on that. And then we also, the Appalachian Trail, like if anybody's ever interested, that ends in Georgia. So that's something that's neat to take part in if you enjoy hiking and getting out and doing fun things like that. So we've got some interesting outdoorsy things to do.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. So I'm glad that you got to share that before we. So if you're watching and you have a question for Lindsay or myself about Dallas or Texas, or not Dallas or Texas. Oh my gosh, Georgia or Texas.
Wow, she just totally excluded me there.
Just totally left her on the side of the road. Okay. So it looks like we don't have any questions. So we're going to wrap it up today, guys. We hope that you have a great night, and we will see you on the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.